babes, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hola que tal, I am Steph and this is my YouTube channel. Just sitting down here, I am in my comfy sweatshirt because today we're going to be doing a more chill type of video. I am doing a little Q&A about my eating disorder recovery. If you guys are new here on my channel, you may not know I have a past with eating disorders. I was struggling with binge eating disorder and bulimia as well as orthorexia, and it's been about a year of me being in recovery and I just feel so good and I feel more in tune with myself than I ever have before. I have a whole video on my channel talking about my eating disorder story, so if you guys haven't seen that video and you want to know a little bit more about my journey, I will leave it linked up here as well as in the description box of this video. This is a safe space for everybody, so if at any point during this video you feel triggered, please feel free to click off of this video. I just want you to be okay. Obviously, my intention is not to trigger anybody. Hopefully this is gonna be a happy and good experience since we're talking about recovery, but I just wanna give everybody that option. Let's get into these juicy questions. I took screenshots of all of them. Someone asked, how did you find support in recovery? Did you go at it alone? I did go to therapy for some part of my recovery journey when I was trying to recover from bulimia, and it was helpful to go to therapy. I didn't really receive much support from the people that are around me on a daily basis, unfortunately, that I wish I did have. I feel like I've generally had a lot more support from like online communities who are going through the same thing and know like what recovery is, and as well as people who are just more educated on eating disorders. I think I received a lot more support even from you guys and just like opening up to my journey than I did from people in my real life, which is kind of sucky. Sometimes happens with eating disorders because people are just so like ignorant to them. The majority of my journey, I definitely went at it alone. But it's not like I would recommend that. I feel like if you can have a support system, like do that, because there's just nothing like having people around you who are really like committed to helping you recover and are trying to be a part of this journey with you. It does kind of take a village sometimes to fully recover. Someone just asked weight gain. So talking about weight gain as far as recovery goes, I couldn't tell you guys if I gained weight or not just because I haven't weighed myself in a really long time. It was such a trigger for me and I knew that it wasn't helpful. I'll say though that like, you know, I outgrew some clothing as part of my, like, as I started to recover, I outgrow some clothing, and I think the most like important thing to do when you do that is to get rid of it immediately. Like, please don't hold on to clothing that doesn't fit you, because that in itself is like a triggering concept, because it's like, oh, you're holding on to it as if like it's gonna, like you're gonna try to fit into it again or something like that. And it's like, we're not made to fit those clothing items. Clothing is made to fit us. Like, I try to look at it as like a glass half full situation, because I kind of look at it as though like, oh, I get to go shopping now. Like, I get to get new clothing because like, and that's my excuse, right? Is like, because it doesn't fit me. So like, I get to like have fun with clothing and go shopping in that way so that it doesn't feel like so painful, because it can feel painful. You cannot put your worth on if a clothing item fits you or not. Do you find having friends who have struggled with eating disorders to be triggering or comforting? I came out about my eating disorder on social media. I was so like surprised by the people that came and approached me telling me that they had similar experiences. Like, people that I've known like in my life, like, you know, that I went to school with, or like, you know, years, but like reaching out to me telling me they struggled with the same thing. And just thinking, like, looking at them online and not thinking that they could ever struggle with something that I was going through, it just like made me realize that like I'm not broken, I'm not like damaged goods because I went through this experience, because it is so common for so many people to go through. By like having people like approach me and tell me that they struggled with the same thing, because it just made me feel like I was normal. You guys can speak about it logically and speak about it in a like matter-of-fact kind of way, and like I find that you can't speak that way with people who haven't gone through it, because they're always gonna look at you like differently. Automatic like look of pity on their face when you speak to somebody who just doesn't understand what an eating disorder is. Whereas like somebody who's gone through an eating disorder in a nurturing way because they understand that moment, people who just haven't gone through that always have like this look of pity on their face, and it honestly pissed me off. Like it genuinely made me angry to speak with people because I just felt like I could never be open about like everything that I was going through because people were looking at me as though like I was broken instead of looking at me as a person who was so strong to get through the things that I got through. What was the hardest part about recovering? Like you lied, you make so many promises and so many lies to yourself when you are in an eating disorder. Like you tell yourself like this is gonna be the last time. No, this is totally fine because like of what I did today or like what happened today, like it's fine. Get so used to lying to yourself about stuff like that. And I realized like I had to be real with myself. Ignorance is bliss kind of thing. Like when you are lying to yourself, you don't have to face your problem. So facing it head on was such an issue. Like when I would have a misstep in recovery, when I would have like some sort of relapse in behavior, to not feel like everything go to shit, like everything is lost because of this misstep that I've had. You still have fear foods. I guess it's not really like something that I think about anymore, which I guess is what you want out of recovery, right? Is that like food is just food. It doesn't give me any kind of emotional reaction anymore. What else to eat when you don't feel like eating? Initially, like in my recovery, I had like set times where I was eating. Established normalcy within my routine. Although like my go-to for a long time when I didn't know what I wanted to eat was sandwiches. And it's such a random like simple food, but I just felt like it was safe for whatever reason. Like in my recovery journey, I felt very safe eating that because it was just like, this is my meal. Like it's simple. Like a sandwich can be anything that you want it to be. It reminded me like of being a kid where like when I was a kid, I didn't think about food in that way. Like it was super intuitive when I would eat. I didn't like force myself to eat. So like eating those meals that I used to eat when I was a kid kind of reminded me how I felt about food when I was a kid. So I guess I would say like maybe a sandwich would be like my go-to in that situation. When you get intrusive thoughts about it again, if you do, what helps getting rid of them? Those thoughts are gonna happen. Like you can't lie to yourself and say, I'm recovered, I'm never gonna have a negative thought again about food or about my body. Like that's not realistic, and like don't beat yourself up if that's happened to you, because it's happened to me. You are not your thought, right? Like just because you think something doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean that it's actually how you're feeling. So like whenever I get a thought like that, I have to focus on my senses, like what I can see, what I can feel, feeling my body, like what's real. It sounds so random, but like I will like look outside a window like I'm doing right now, look outside a window and just stare at something outside. Like lose like any focus in anything else but the thing that I'm looking at. It's kind of like when you zone out, but like with intention and purpose, and it's like your thoughts tend to disappear when you don't grab onto them. Get a thought of like, oh my gosh, I don't look like how I look today, and you continue that thought, you're gonna come up with so many other things that are triggering, right? Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have eaten that last night, or maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I shouldn't have whatever. Those things stem from that one initial thought that you have. Zone out and like remove that thought and not grab onto it. That is the best way to like get rid of anything. Oh, I love this question. How can I best support someone in an eating disorder recovery? Educate yourself on it. Like, please, if somebody is opening up to you about them having an eating disorder, know how hard it is. Handle that with care, because you're handling like their mental state and their heart when they tell you those things. To one, educate myself on the eating disorder that they have, you know, like realize it doesn't have anything to do with food. Try to be there for them whenever possible. So like if you're the type of person where you're able to like, I don't know, cook them a meal, great. Sit down with them for a meal and just talk about anything else that has nothing to do with the food. That is like such a great thing that like a friend could do. I've eaten so many meals throughout my recovery alone, right? And like eating those meals could have been so much like helpful or easier if I had someone with me just sitting there talking to me about anything. Please don't make a face. Like, don't make a face when someone's trying to speak to you openly about that. I've had people make faces at me and it just made me feel like even more insecure about what I was going through. So try to control your facial expressions because even that is triggering. What is something you're still struggling with? I think the thing that I'm struggling with now is like anxiety in the kitchen. It's common with a lot of people who are in recovery is to feel anxious about like cooking their meals. It just, like I don't have a good time making my meals. I'm trying to incorporate more of that, like that cooking aspect into my daily life. Like if I'm gonna be honest, like I eat out all the time because it makes me so anxious to cook. Maybe I'll cook something that's really easy or something that I can put like in a crock pot or like in a slow cooker. When I compared that feeling to everything else that I went through my recovery, girl, that's nothing. That's a breeze for me. Like honestly, I just never genuinely thought that I would be in the place that I'm at in my recovery journey. I never like thought that I would feel okay around food ever. Like it never felt like a possibility to me. And I just want to let you guys know, if you're feeling that way, just know that it's completely possible and that you deserve it. Me doing this has been the most worthwhile thing that I've ever done in my entire life. Like, I gotta say it, like really. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below what other content you guys would like to see from me in the future, because I want to make sure that I'm uploading a new video for you guys every single week and I need some more ideas, so comment those down below. Thank you for all of the support and the kind comments in the comment sections of all of the videos that I've made about this. I'm also going to link down below some of my favorite creators who talk openly and all the time about eating disorder recovery, so I will put them down below in the description box for you guys to find them. And let me know if you guys want me to make more videos on this topic. It's obviously a part of my journey and my story. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I love you guys so much. Ciao. Mwah.